The Peanuts movie, Snoopy's Grand Adventure. A game I bought because, well, both it was on sale and I had just watched the Peanuts movie and I was mildly enchanted by it. And this is very much a licensed movie game, but more importantly, from where I'm sitting, this game kind of shits all over what the Peanuts stand for. But we'll get to that in a sec. Now, because all of the music in this game is copywritten, I can't use it in this video, so enjoy music that is gasp, not representative of the game, as graciously borrowed from our old pal Ernest Evans on the Sega Genesis. Now the story is, you play that funny looking kid with the big nose, as he tries to track down what happened to that weird round-headed kid and all his dumb friends. Or, more accurately, nothing has happened, they went off to go play and Snoopy just wants to play the hero. In which case they should have probably just titled this game Snoop Ops the Line, except that would have actually made this game interesting in some respect. No, instead it's basically just a standard platformer, and when I say a standard basic platformer, I mean it in pretty much the most genuine sense imaginable. It is a 2D platformer where you run from the left side of the screen to the right side of the screen to find the exit to move on. In between these 2 points, you can collect jelly beans, which do nothing. I mean, seriously, I went through and collected every single one in this game, and aside from a true achievement point it gave me, which, hooray for that, it seemed to do absolutely nothing. In fact, this game doesn't even have like an archaic point system, so it doesn't even affect that, so why you'd collect the jelly beans in this game, it doesn't make sense. But they're there to collect because if they weren't there to collect, there would be significantly less to do in each level. Oh, and you can collect bagel scouts in each level because they're part of a delicious breakfast. And like the jelly beans, are there for no effective reason because they don't affect anything. Outside of that, Snoopy is equipped with several costume changes which allow him to traverse the level and get past various obstacles, but for the most part are kind of completely not without reason of being there. So basically, if you want to draw the long and short of this, it is basically Diet Off-Brand Magical Quest, except slap on the Peanuts characters instead of Mickey Mouse. And, you know, drain all the fun out of it. Aside from running left to right and collecting things for no reason, there's not really much to this game. I mean, I've really more or less covered all of it, except for the Red Baron stages, because one stage creatively actually turns into a side-scrolling shmup, and I will give you a point for that game. And the bosses aren't entirely awful. They don't copy each other and at least have some relative creativity thrown into them, such as the first boss, which involves catapulting balls into the background to hit them. It's not much, but at the very least, there is a small modicum of creativity in this game. And that's about as enthusiastic about this as I'm going to ever get. And the levels themselves are nothing to write home about. They're very, very cookie cutter in design, very bland, and not very fun to play through. But in the end, it is a very basic platformer. If you're okay with a game that is basically Diet knockoff Magical Quest, you might find some fun here, but I was desperately trying to find a lot of fun in this game, and really I just found it to be a really boring time killer. Now, the presentation to Snoopy's Bland Adventure is probably the highlight of it, honestly. It does look fairly similar to the same models used in the movies, although if you look at it closely, they do seem to be slightly off. And the levels themselves follow the same style of every world has one specific theme and every level in it applies that exact same theme. So I hope you like the themes this game picked, because if you don't like these themes, you're going to be very bored. And the audio, as indicated by my copyright notifications, all seem to be songs from the cartoon, although honestly I binge watched the cartoon before recording this. I couldn't find any of the songs here aside from the standard Peanuts theme, so I don't know. Honestly, I don't. Now, if you want a copy of the Peanuts movie, Snoopy's Grand Adventure, you're probably going to pay way too much for it because it's not worth it, but the cheapest one I'm seeing right now is $25. I got my copy for $5 when it was on sale digitally, and Honestly, it was barely worth that. Like I said, it is pretty much the most generic platformer you could ever have. You could take out all the Peanuts references and it would be the exact same game, and it would be about as boring. And now I guess we get to come to the thing that makes me so mad about this game. Now, I know what you're saying. This is a licensed movie tie-in game. It can't possibly be good, right? Well, the thing is, this is Peanuts. We're talking about a daily comic strip that almost ran for 50 years. And in that time, the guy who made it, Charles Schulz, he only ever took one break. Now, I know what you're saying, where's the relevance in this? Well, my point is that the man who made Peanuts was very clearly a hard worker, who was very passionate about what he was doing. He cared, he poured his heart and soul into his product, and while at the end of the day the comic and even the movie basically recycled the same jokes over and over, it was entertaining. And we're also talking about Peanuts, the IP that had a Coca-Cola sponsored Christmas special that had the guts to point out how much of a giant, cynical commercial cash-in the single biggest religious holiday in North America had become. So why is this one thing the biggest, laziest, soulless, cynical commercial cash-in? Because this is basically the antithesis of what Peanuts stood for, from where I'm standing. And that's why I'm so mad. Because yes, this is a movie tie-in game. And yeah, it's bad. But the thing is, if anyone actually gave a shit when they made this game, it wouldn't have been. At the very least, it could have been something about the slice of life minutia that we all sort of nostalgically remember from the Peanuts cartoon, or the Peanuts comic strips. Or hell, maybe they would have actually gone a step further and created something that spoke much to us, the player, or even much to our own childhood and how we developed. Or maybe allows us to learn something about ourselves, which, at the end of the day, seemed like the whole goal of Peanuts from the start. But instead, no, we get this lazy, cynical cash-in, which is basically the complete opposite of what Peanuts was. But I guess I can summarize my feelings of this game by misquoting Linus Van Pelt in saying, of all the Charlie Brown games in the world, this one is the Charlie Browniest. Ugh.